Hello guys, this is Deepika from mytutorialrack.com. In the previous tutorial, we have configured the Mary's repository, and now I am inside of Mary's repository, and this is the Mary's repo, and let me, as Mary, make some changes. So the first change I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to start working on her bio page, and for that I'm not going to touch master right now because master has all these stable things. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new branch and check out as new branch. So I'm going to say -b bio page. This is the branch that I'm creating off of the master, so it has everything that master has right now. Now I'm going to, as Mary's repository is completely isolated development environment. Okay, so do not mix this repository with MyGit repo. They both are two different repository. What MyGit repo is doing is independent of what Mary's is doing, and vice versa. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and change this bio page that you see for the Mary's repo. So if I go back here and go to Mary's repo, there is a Mary page inside of the about. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and edit this particular page. Right now this page looks like this. If I go back here to the Chrome, probably it just has this please update your bio. So this is the message that this Mary.html has. Now as Mary.html, as Mary, I'm gonna go ahead and update my bio page. So I'm gonna go back here and open this bio page in Notepad. So these are the changes that I've made to the Mary.html. So if I go back and look at my changes, it says about Mary. She says I'm a graphic designer and these are my interests. If you want to go back to the about page, it takes you to the about index page. So now these are the changes that I have done inside of the Mary's repository, and not in a master branch, but in the bio page branch that I've created. So if you look at this, currently I am in this bio page branch, and it's because the master branch has all the stable stuff. So the first thing we will do is we're going to go ahead and add stage and commit this snapshot. So I'm going to go ahead and say git commit -a -m add the bio page that I have done, bio page for Mary. So this is what I have created. I have created the bio page for Mary's under this commit. So this is a single command to add as well as commit together. So now we have added it. If you look at the log, git log --one line. So these are the log. Okay, so now it gives you the log for everything. Okay, so now let's say I wanted to only limit the log to one line. Okay, so let's say I wanted to go ahead, there's a flag to do that, and I wanted to just limit history output to a single commit. So I just want to see what is the last commit. So I told add bio page for Mary. So if I go ahead and change the number to 2, then it's going to give me last 2 commits. So whatever the 2 commits that I did, it's going to go ahead and display those 2 commits. Since I'm only interested in the commits that is made by Mary, so I'm going to say give me the last 1 commit, that is the bio page for Mary. So this is the command that we have, git log with the -n, the number of commits that you want to see. So now we have done is we have added the Mary's bio page has been added. Now we will go ahead and publish the bio page. Okay, but before that we will go ahead and merge those changes to the master. Okay, so first what we're going to do is before merging it to the master, we need to go ahead and check out as master. So the same exact commands that we learned earlier, but now we are doing it in a different repository. So now we're going to go ahead, now I'm checked out as master, and I'm going to go ahead and get the changes from the bio-page branch, and I'm going to merge those changes into master. Okay, so right now master is not aware of the Mary's bio page. So let's just take a look at it. Let's just take a look. So first thing, if I go to the Mary page, right now this is the master branch. And now if I go ahead and look this with the notepad, you will see it only has this information. But we recently updated the Mary's bio, but we did it in the bio page branch. Now we are merging those changes back into the master. So I'm going to go ahead and say git merge and this is the branch I'm going to go ahead and merge the changes from. So once you hit this, now we have updated the changes, and if you go back, you will see all the changes which were there in the Mary.html inside of the bio page branch came back to the master. So far we have done only the things in the Mary's repository. Now let's say I wanted to go ahead and interact with the MyGit repo, the other repository that we already have, because MyGit repo is not aware of the Mary's changes that she did because they are two different repositories. So how we're going to go ahead and communicate between these two repositories? So if you want to know what connection Mary repository has with other repository, there is a command to check those connections. It's called git remote. Now this is going to go ahead and tell you what connection it has with the other repository. So it displays origin. Now what does this origin represents? Since we have cloned this repository, means we have kind of copied the repository from MyGit repo, Git automatically adds the origin remote pointing to the original repository. So this origin is nothing but the MyGit repo that we have, because it knows that we're going to go ahead and interact with the MyGit repo because we cloned from that particular branch. So if I wanted to go ahead and it tells you what is the origin. So origin is MyGit repo. So this particular shows the full path to our original repository, which is basically nothing but the MyGit repo. So this git remote tells you what other repository this Mary's repo has connection with, and then only thing that it popped was the origin. Now since the origin is nothing but the repository that it cloned from, okay, the originated from. So if you go ahead and display it with the -v, it tells you the exact path. So it tells you the origin is nothing but the MyGit repo. So now let me go back and go one step back. So I'm going to go ahead and go to MyGit repo. Okay, so this is the way I'm going to go. So now I am inside of MyGit repo. Initially I was in this Mary's repo. Now I'm inside of the MyGit repo. Now if you hit the same command here, it does not have any originator because we did not clone this particular repo from anywhere. So it does not have any connections with any repository. So now to communicate between these two repositories, we need to establish the connection between these two repositories, the MyGit repo and the Mary's repo, so that we can fetch the changes what Mary's repo made into our branch, which is into our repo, which is MyGit repo. Now if you look at MyGit repo is not aware of what are the changes Mary's made. Okay, so now if I go back, now I'm checked out as, if now I'm inside Mary's repo, let me go back to the MyGit repo. So if I go back here to MyGit repo, okay, so now MyGit repo under the about is not, if you open this Mary file, it's not even aware of the changes that Mary has made. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get those changes. How? Let's see. From this point, you know that Mary's repository and the MyGit repo are two independent places. They're two independent repositories, not aware of each other. Mary's is originated from MyGit repo. Okay, so it has that connection, and it's also a possibility that when Mary was making changes in the bio page, it's also possible that the MyGit repo was also making some changes. So let's say if MyGit repo was making any changes, Mary's is not aware of it. So while they were working on their separate stuff, there might be any merge conflicts. So first thing we're going to go ahead and do is, when we're going to get the changes from Mary, it might be a possibility that results into a merge conflict. So first thing we need to do is, before we get Mary's bio page, we need to access that repository. Since MyGit repo has no connection with MyGit repo, let's go ahead and make that connection. So the command to do it, git remote add Mary, and what's the path to the Mary's repository? This is the path to the Mary's repository. So what is this Mary? Mary, you can think like another name we have given to Mary's repo. So we can use this Mary to refer to Mary's repository. So now if I go ahead and hit this command, now I'm making and establishing the connection between the Mary's repo and MyGit repo. So now if I go ahead and hit git remote command, initially it did not say that it has any connections with any, but now if I go ahead and hit, now it tells you that okay, I have the connection with Mary. So now they both are connected to each other. Initially Mary's repo was aware of mygit repo because Mary's repo was originated from mygit repo, was a clone of mygit repo, so it knew what is mygit repo. But mygit repo has no idea about Mary's repo. So before we get the changes from Mary's repo, we need to make the connection between these two repositories, and the way to do is git remote, which add Mary. Mary is just another name for Mary's repo, and dot dot means go back one step and go inside of the Mary's repo and made the connection with this. So now this mygit repo has the connection with Mary. So now we have made the connection with Mary. Let's see what branch access we have. So if I go ahead and say to the remote branches, okay, the branches that are remote, not our branches that we have created, but the remote ones. If you go ahead and just do git branch, it will list the branches inside of mygit repo. But if I say git branch -r means the remote one. So if I go ahead and do, it does not have any connection to the branch that Mary's has, which is the bio page. Okay, so we need the connection for that branch as well. So now we're going to go ahead and fetch all the branches. So now if I'm going to go ahead and do a fetch command, which fetches all the branches that are there in the Mary, the master branch as well as the bio page branch. So now I'm going to say git fetch Mary, which is going to go ahead and fetch all the branches, the remote branches that is there inside of the Mary. So I'm going to go ahead. Now it got those two branches, the master as well as the bio page. Okay, now if I go ahead and give this command, now it will know that it has these two branches. One is the bio page and the other one is the master. So now we got access to Mary's repository. Now we also got access to Mary's branches. Next step is just to go ahead and get the stuff from Mary's and merge into our repository. So what this git fetch command does, this particular command will go to Mary's repository and will download all of the branches it finds under the Mary's repository. So this git fetch command that we did was a one-time thing. So let's say we did git fetch command. Now at that point of time, whatever was there in Mary, it got everything. All the branches that were there in the Mary, that git fetch has downloaded it. But now let's say Mary made some more changes to the Mary's repo. This git fetch is not dynamic. It's not going to keep updating itself with what's there in the Mary. It only fetches at that point in time what was there in Mary. It will fetch everything there. But let's say if you made any further changes, you need to go ahead and fetch it again to get those new changes. So by using the git fetch command, it only reflects the state of Mary's repository at the time you did the fetch. So now if Mary keeps on adding more branches, the list will not change until you fetch again. So now since we're able to access Mary's repository and the branches, now the next step is to get the changes the Mary made, which we will see in the next tutorial.